Do you encourage collaboration between the coaches? Because even though it's different sports, I mean, there's a lot of leadership things that carry on.
Oh, without question.
Yeah.
You have to. Like Eddie. Eddie is a 15-time national champion coach. He'll walk over and talk to Steve about something, tapering. He'll talk to Steve about how the psychology of talking to a team. Jared Elliott will talk, like our baseball coach, Coach Schlossinger was in North Carolina recruiting and met with Mac Brown on his own just to talk about Texas. And our coaches, Ricky Barnes, is constantly talking to Rodney. He's moving back to Austin, or has a house here. I don't know if he's moving back, but I'm trying to get it moved back. But we keep all the old guard back in town because they're just with our coaches. They're all on a WhatsApp app. I'm not too sure what WhatsApp is. They're on WhatsApp app, just them. And they're constantly communicating, talking about this or that. A lot of our coaches are in the same hallway, so they're sharing ideas. And cross-pollination is critical to the success of each program. I firmly believe it.
So the fan experience, night and day from when you took over, was that a priority of yours? And
Yeah, I mean, well, when I was at TCU, I'd come to games. And I don't know if you remember, you know where the Arnold Itkin sticker boxes out front? That used to be trash cans lined all the way up. Huge dumpsters. Like, what are we doing surrounded by down? We had parking all the way in front of DKR, and I was like, man, what are we doing? Well, I used to
tailgating.
I used to laugh and go, it's like going to church. We'll be okay. It's not loud, it's not intimidating, but there's really nothing to do. And I feel like I'm running an enterprise based on people's passion. And rational people become irrational to their passion. So I went and studied Disney. Just went out and said, tell me what you do. How do you create an experience? If you all went to Disney, it starts when you tell your kids on Christmas you're going to Disney. You get to the park and they have everyone meeting you at the hotel. Then you finally get to the park and it's all these things around it and you're waiting 2 hours in line for a ride. But everything around involves the emotions of being at Disneyland. By the end of the day, you're wore out and your kids are saying, it's the greatest thing ever. Can I come back? So I studied Disney. We went and studied Ritz-Carlton and what do they do for their high-end client, how they treat people and how they have a warm, welcoming environment. Can we permeate that throughout the building? So I learned this years and years ago, and I came to Texas. I said, we have to just revamp everything we do. It's called the Spokane Art Festival. And it's the craziest art festival we've ever seen. We are doing that on Bevo Boulevard. You can't do that. I have to convince everyone to move their parking spots. They are all, I've been parking here since '63, damn it.
Right.
I will park you here, we'll just create. And then we have a staff that we meet, and I let them write anything they want. Any crazy idea, put it up there. Let's do it. If it goes wrong, I'll take the blame. Let's just not do it again. Create a music scene because we have Austin City Limits. Can we do that here? Yeah. And just create these. Someone came out with a disco night at the end of the game, a silent disco. Like, that thing ain't gonna work. It's crazy after the game. We got 3,000 kids there doing silent disco. So these things were just to try to create an environment around the stadium. Now, conversely, when I go on the road, if we're playing a game at 6 o'clock, I take 5 people with me and we get dropped off at the stadium at 11 o'clock. And I'll say, okay, Kurt, you go listen and go look at all the food and how they do the display. You tell me all the music they play, when and what they do. Another person is looking at event management. I go to the farthest parking lot and I just walk all the way around and figure out what they do. And I'm a big fan of R&D, rip off and duplicate. Then I come back and go, can we make any of that stuff ours?
What's the best idea you took away from someone else?
Well, music inside.
Yeah.
You know, a couple of years ago we did Journey song.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like, okay, Iowa State had something cooking. I think it might have been Sweet Caroline, but their stadium was all lined with, like, we can do something of that version.
Right.
I went to the Verde game and put that, they had a green smoke. I put the orange smoke down, and now it smells like rotten eggs, but it's wild.
It was on the other side of the stadium.
Yeah, but it's nuts. The kids love it. I went and saw a drone show. I said, we got to be the first school in the country to do a drone show.
That drone show was crazy.
Right. So we just start doing these things and just say, because what you want to do is bring 100,000 people to get to campus and spend the day with you. And when they leave, win, lose, or draw, was it worth their investment? It's their discretionary income. Now you're asking them to spend it with you. Why would you go to a Ritz-Carlton hotel? Because they're expecting a certain level, where you're all in founder suites. When it was a home game, I get to the game at 6 a.m. and we walk every single floor. Are the restrooms clean? Are the concessions ready? So by time 10 o'clock's done, I'm like, we're ready.
Where do you like to watch the games?
Well, I'll sit over there and then I get really nervous. So a game day, I'll come walk all the suites, say hi to everybody, make sure everything's great, and then I'll sit in your club over here for a little while. By about the third quarter, I'll just go to the sideline because I'm pretty puckered up. And what's wrong with the team? They can't complete a pass. So I'm like, okay, I need to get away from you. That happens. When you get stuck in the restroom and they're like, what was that fumble for? You're like, whoa.
I didn't carry the ball.
I didn't carry the ball. So it is nuts.
You can sit next to, why aren't we going up tempo, Mr. Arnold over here?
Yeah.
Oh, it's armchair quarterback at its finest.
Yeah.
And they all have it. So I wish there was just like a perch you could find. But so by the beginning of the fourth quarter, I'll usually go on the sideline solely just because I'm like, okay, it's gone.
You've also done a great job of, it's unbelievable the change in our facilities since when you took over to where we are now. How important is that to you and to the program, and what caused you to put such an emphasis in facilities?
Well, I'll say this. If you're a 1950 chemist and you're using a 1950 Bunsen burner, and it's 2024, and you're recruiting the greatest chemist to come for you, they're going to look at your facility and say, you're not serious. Our facilities were phenomenal. This building that we're in right now was was built for Darrell Royal. It was renovated for John Malkovich. We weren't investing in our infrastructure. We were saying, hey, it's Texas. Well, we got passed by. Everyone started infusing a significant amount of money into their facilities, and you're trying to recruit against an A&M, you're trying to recruit against an Alabama, Georgia, Florida, you name it, Oklahoma, and we're still dealing with facilities that were archaic. They were great for its time, but we never infused that revenue. And I was like, guys, if we are espoused to be Texas, and we want to live here, then we got to make sure our facilities match our expectation. You don't build them because you think you build them because there's a need to attract the very best. If you're attracting the very best chemists in the world to come to the University of Texas, you better have facilities and infrastructure allow them to get the very best out of them. And that was, to me, we were lacking.
How do you decide where to invest in your facilities, so that you're maximizing the productivity of all the sports?
Good question, Kurt. I think when I first got here and after listening to those coaches, we took a bet on ourselves that we could raise it, not knowing how, but we gave every sport $10 million and said, go fix your current facility the way it is, what you need right now. Baseball chose a player personnel area. Softball chose the same. Rowing, we did the Moody Center, then we did the basketball practice facility. We did this building. So we started to look at golf. We did some renovations to golf. So it was really just trying to infuse some current revenue into the teams to make sure that they have what they need now. So now once that football and men's basketball, women's basketball are done, we did rowing, is we looked at what is probably next on tap. We know the football indoor is going to come. That's a critical need for us when you think about this class time where we're at, not having a true indoor. It's a bubble built in 2000.
Right.
Our football practice facility is not up to par, but it's not up to par to train the very best. I like to put grass in DKR, but we can't put grass in DKR until we dress the practice facility because the band uses this. So it's not our football team. The tuba player standing in one place does
Kills
more damage than sweat rushing the passer, believe it or not, because they're constantly moving. Right. So addressing the football practice is our most critical need. Then you'll start to look at what's our oldest facility. You look at softball, probably have to address softball. We are going to build a new facility for beach volleyball. So we'll start to just constantly, it's ever changing, but we look at what is the most need in terms of infrastructure. Baseball was revamped, probably say when Augie was here in late 90s. We'll have to probably look at the infrastructure of baseball.
Okay.
So it's just one of those things that but what we've done in the past, which was different, was we just bonded all our projects and never really raised any money. So we were carrying so much bonded debt on our operational budget, but that was what they used to do. We'll just sell suites and put seats in, we'll put that revenue too, but you got to pay off a huge debt. We still owed $18 million on the Cooley practice facility. Well, that was built in 2000. We just bonded it. We didn't raise money for it. You know what I mean? So we had to figure out a way, wait a minute, I don't want to do that. I want to go to you all, I want to go to our donors, we want to raise the money for the facility, do it on a short-term paper, and pay that off so we don't encumber our operating budget. So every project we've done has all been privately raised. We do short-term commercial paper or we do a short-term bond, and we're able to build these because of you all that allow us to do it, that we don't encumber our operating budget. But that's how we used to do it in the past. So as we raise the money, we'll start the facility. So we've raised all the money for the indoor, excited about that. But we'll work through the timing of when we start construction, and it'll be great.
What's your preference over grass over turf?
Well, football's played on grass. I love it. I love the smell of it. But, you know what I mean? You want to mow it. But I think that...
They go back to your Washington State days?
CDC wants to chalk the field.
Yeah, I want to chalk the field. Yeah, let me mow that thing. I think in the South,
We could save a little money, you know,
Have you
on
seen
the
how hot
maintenance
it is?
department.
You wait till the Colorado State game. We'll take a heat gun. It'll be 150 degrees. We played Alabama 2 years ago, and I looked across, and it was, you could see the heat wave. I'm like, this is way too hot. But it was because of the way the proximity and usage of the stadium that we went to, and we've always switched. 1 year Mac had it, 1 year he took it out. It was very strange, and in and out. We had a deluge, and we'll never have it. Remember Ricky, when he runs that deal, and it's awesome, and he comes up in mud everywhere. That's what football's all about. But I prefer grass. I think that there's, field turf and these synthetic surfaces have done a good job. I think the safety of our student athletes, the playing on grass, you can say the safety for on grass is the same statistics for on field turf. It's just your preference. I just prefer grass. I think Steve does too.
Talk about a little bit how having such a strong athletic program really helps complement the great academics and the great research that's being done at the university.
It's just the front porch. I mean, the reality of a house is you have a front porch, which is the athletic department. You have the house, which is the university, and you have a back porch, the alumni association would tell Liza how great you were, and you come back. The synergy of what it is what it is, right? But on 6 Saturdays a year, 7 Saturdays a year, you get to bring back 100,000 people in DK, or another 50 to 60,000 around the stadium, and they get to celebrate their alma mater. They get to celebrate the university. At the same time, we get to use that front porch to bring people into. And I think one of our keys to our success right now is we have a chairman of the board, Kevin L-type, you all know real well.
Right.
Longhorn.
Yeah.
We have a president who's a Longhorn. So we're all synergized in lockstep in every decision we make. And you think about your question, MD Anderson is coming to Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
The bold maneuver to put MD Anderson along with UT Medical Center. And for those guys to say this is important for Central Texas, took bold initiative. Well, we get to talk about that and celebrate that 6, 7 Saturdays a year, because it's the only place in the university that you can bring all those people back. And it really becomes, but if you're aligned in this regard, and you can look 10 years ago, we weren't aligned.
Oh, I know.
And that goes back to the pebble in your shoe. In your law firm, if you're not aligned somewhere, I know you do very well, that person won't be there. Because they can be a great employee. I mean, they can be a great lawyer, but they're not a good employee for you. I just know you two, they won't be there. Because synergy is the most important thing. In a public institution, you can't do that. There's tenure, there's all these other factors around. But when you have it right, Texas hums. And we have a governor that's a Longhorn. And so I always say, United Texas is a reckoning. When we're all singing from the same sheet of music, it's awesome.
What's one piece of advice you'd give a young coach or a young player who wants to get into the management side of sports later, not being a coach necessarily, but being an athletic director and assistant AD?
It's interesting. They all want your chair. I'm assuming every lawyer that comes in, they want the corner office.
Right.
They have no understanding.
They don't want to do the work that gets into them.
Correct. But they don't understand where you started from and what you've built.
They see the glory, but not the journey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have 100 people that will say, hey, I want your job. I go, wow, I started a Division II school. My first outside of graduate school. That was my first job. I'm not going to go to Trinity. You better bet on yourself. At some point in time, you have to bet on yourself. So young people, especially in athletics, they just see the chair or they see the president and they don't understand this is what it is. So every GA that we employ about 1,000 students, and everyone is serious about athletics. I make them go work in the maintenance department for a year. It's not for anything more. They do all the work. Event management does all the work. They are the unsung heroes of the department. I mean, for us at the University of Texas, we employ everybody. Air conditioning people are all my employees. Electricians, plumbers, we're all self-contained. But they're professional tradespeople in our builds. They're not the university employees or athletic employees. So I'm like, you need to go see what they do and how they do it, because your next step will be the ticket office, because you got to sell a ticket. Then from there you can go to development or marketing or wherever else you want to go. But if you're truly about this, you better figure out how to do that. And it usually weeds them out pretty quick.
Yeah, I understand. How many people do you have that actually do fundraising?
Probably about 10.
Wow.
It's pretty small.
I would have thought a bit more.
No, it's not, because I think at the end of the day, you have a book. Like when I was fundraising, and I still do with your level, I will have, I believe in 10 appointments a week. I believe that you need to get out of your office, see 10 people a week. And if you do that every single week, so if you visit 10 people a week, every fundraiser, and you get 5 gifts a month of 25,000 or more, do the math with 10 people doing that. But there's a lot of idle time. So I'm in the development shop almost every day. Where are we at? What are we doing? How are we going about a business? I make the entire staff write you guys letters, ad nauseam.
Those, yeah.
But what the whole point is, I want them to know your name, and I want them to say thank you. And they'll say, hey, I'm Mike Hernandez. I'm in charge of facilities. I'm in charge of the air conditioning. I just want to say thank you.
So how many years off do Jason and I get from the visit list from Chris Del Conte?
Not much.
He's the most expensive friend we know.
Let me run some.
You are the most expensive
You
friend
boys,
we know.
every year, we just read the newspaper. Every time there is a settlement, we look, okay, there they are, boys. Actually, your friend will call me.
Yeah.
They just hit a big lick, boys. You need to go see them. I'm like, well, no, they have other interests. But more importantly, it's not because you have it, you choose to give it, but more importantly, you love this school. And that's so awesome. It's a story of, look at these young guys, what they've done, who's next, and can you follow suit? Because I'm assuming, well, I will tell you, this will not be your last gift to the University of Texas. You can say no, but it will not be. I firmly believe that. But you set the bar high enough that your goal should be at one point in time that this place is, you've already left an indelible mark. And it's what is next.
I appreciate that. I mean, I think outside of marrying our wives, the best decision we both made was getting to go to school, both undergrad and law school here at University of Texas.
Law school is coming for y'all.
Yeah.
We know.
I mean, no.
We know.
Don't kid yourself.
Hold on. We're getting videotaped right now. Let's put that aside.
Put it cut.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, CDC, I really appreciate you.
All right.